Okay, so have you ever had that feeling like your brain is just, I don't know, a web browser with way too many tabs open?
Oh, definitely. A million tabs, all playing different sounds, maybe some error messages flashing.
Exactly. Thoughts, bright ideas, things you have to do, uh, endless to-dos. It's all just swirling around up there.
Mm-hmm. All competing for your attention. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And you end up feeling, well, less like you're in control, conducting things smoothly, and more like you're just juggling everything, desperately hoping nothing gets dropped.
Right, totally overwhelmed. That constant sort of background noise in your head, that mental
That's
clutter.
it, that hum, and that nagging feeling like, ugh, you're not quite on top of your game.
Yeah.
Like you could be sharper, more focused, achieving more.
It's such a common thing these days, isn't it? This universal quest for clarity.
It really is just wanting to cut through all the noise and distractions to actually be effective and feel, well, organized inside.
It's a huge modern challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
the sheer amount of information coming at us, especially digital stuff, emails, social media, news alerts,
Oh, don't even start. It's relentless.
it is. It's enough to swamp anyone. So it's not just about managing a to-do list anymore. It's more about strategically managing your cognitive load.
Cognitive load. I like that. Explain that a bit more.
Well, think of your brain's working memory like your computer's RAM, right?
Okay.
If you have too many demanding apps open at once, everything just slows down, grinds to a halt sometime.
Yeah, familiar feeling. The spinning beach ball of the mind.
Exactly. So the goal isn't just to like tidy your desk or clear your inbox temporarily. It's about optimizing those background processes in your head so your mental CPU can actually focus on the really important stuff.
That is the perfect analogy. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking into a whole stack of resources, really carefully chosen ones that aren't just about giving you more information, because who needs that?
Right. We're drowning in information.
We are. These are about empowering you with actual strategies. Think of them as like tactical upgrades for your brain.
Ooh, I like that. Tactical upgrades.
Yeah, designed specifically to help you organize your mind, seriously boost your productivity, and cultivate a mindset that feels less like you're constantly fighting fires and more like you're actually, well, winning,
Yeah.
orchestrating things.
And the mission today, it's not just about listing websites or apps, is it?
Not at all. It's about really unpacking them, extracting the essential gold nuggets, understanding how you can apply them in the real world for real impact.
So integrating these insights, these tools into daily life for like genuine change.
Exactly, real transformation.
And what's really cool about the resources we've gathered, I think, is the range.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, we're covering 10 unique resources, and they really span the whole spectrum. We've got things that are quite conceptual, almost philosophical, about mental clarity, finding your purpose.
Pretty deep stuff.
The deep stuff, yeah. But then we go all the way down to incredibly practical, granular tools, stuff you can literally start using like 5 minutes after you finish listening.
Nice. So it's a blend.
It's a very comprehensive approach. It blends that essential mental strength, that self-awareness piece, with really tangible, actionable things you can do. It's like building both the solid foundation and the practical framework for a much more organized and, frankly, effective life.
I love that. Foundation and framework.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
I couldn't agree more. So let's systematically unpack these. We'll look at what makes each one valuable and, crucially, how they all kind of fit together to help build what we're calling a truly organized mind.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
So get ready to maybe shift your perspective a bit, maybe uncover some surprising things, and definitely grab some actionable insights. Let's start closing down some of those mental tabs.
Time to optimize that internal OS.
Exactly. Okay, so where do we start? The absolute foundation.
Makes sense to start there.
Many people argue, and I think convincingly, that the absolute bedrock of any success, any kind of organization, whether it's personal or professional, is your mindset.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Think about it, right? The way you approach things, especially challenges, your beliefs about what you can actually achieve,
Yeah.
how resilient you are when things inevitably go wrong.
Mm-hmm. It all dictates so much.
It profoundly impacts your ability to be effective, to get things done. So this first section is all about online platforms, websites really, that are specifically designed to help shape this crucial mental landscape, kind of like the mental fuel you need.
The fuel for that organized mind engine. Nice.
Yeah. And the very first one on our list is called The Rich Daily.
Yes, the Rich Daily. The material we looked at calls it an amazing website, and its focus is really interesting. Mindset, happiness, and business all together.
That combo is intriguing. Mindset, happiness, business. Why those three?
Well, I think that specific combination is super insightful. We often try to keep these things separate, don't we? Like, here's my personal well-being, my happiness over here.
Yeah, compartmentalize.
Exactly. And then over here is my work, my business, my professional goals. But the Rich Daily seems to suggest, maybe even in its name, right, that richness isn't just about money.
Ah, okay. A richer life in a broader sense.
Precisely. It suggests this fundamental interconnectedness, a holistic approach. So why is an improved mindset needed for both happiness and business success?
Yeah, why is it a prerequisite?
Because your internal state, your mindset, it doesn't just influence your actions, it literally colors everything you do, your decisions, your reactions, how you perceive things.
Okay, makes sense.
If your mind is cluttered with, say, limiting beliefs, or if you're always operating from fear or negativity, well, that's inevitably going to impact your business decisions, right?
Yeah.
Your creativity, how you handle setbacks.
Yeah, you'll play it safe, maybe miss opportunities.
Exactly. So the Rich Daily really illustrates that your mindset isn't just some vague feeling. It's a tangible asset, something you can actually train and improve.
Train your mindset. How does that work in their context?
Well, they often show how even a small shift in perspective, like adopting what Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset, believing you can develop abilities can literally open up new ways to solve problems.
So you start seeing possibilities instead of just roadblocks.
Precisely. You see opportunities where maybe before you only saw obstacles. It reframes everything.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
So it's not just about learning like marketing tactics or financial strategies. It's about nurturing the actual person running the show.
Absolutely. The individual driving it all.
Okay, so I'm curious then. How does this focus on happiness within a business context, which the Rich Daily promotes? How does that differ from just, chasing profits?
That's a great question.
Because my gut feeling is, a miserable business leader, even if they're making bank, isn't really sustainable. It feels like this website gets that improving yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it leads to better business outcomes somehow.
You've hit it exactly. A purely profit-driven approach, while it might look good on paper in the short term, often leads to burnout, maybe cutting ethical corners, a lack of long-term vision. Yeah.
Yeah, short-sightedness.
Right. But when happiness, or maybe better put, well-being and purpose, are genuinely integrated into how the business runs, it suggests a focus on more sustainable success.
Sustainable. How so?
Well, think about employee well-being, positive work environments, maybe even a deeper connection with customers because you actually care about more than just the transaction. Happy, purpose-driven leaders tend to create environments where people are more productive, more creative, more resilient.
That makes intuitive sense. Happier team, better results.
And the Rich Daily often gets into the how. Like, how do you actually integrate this? They might provide frameworks for spotting and challenging your own cognitive biases.
Biases, like what?
Things like confirmation bias, only seeing evidence that supports what you already believe. Or loss aversion, being overly afraid of losing something, which can stifle risk-taking. These biases can quietly sabotage you, especially in business.
Wow. Okay, so it gets quite practical then.
Very practical mindset work. So for you listening, just take a second. How does your daily outlook, your general mindset impact your day? Your productivity, the decisions you make? Are you approaching things with a sense of possibility or kind of dread?
That's a good reflective question.
The Rich Daily offers a really solid place to start consciously shifting that internal conversation, turning those perceived obstacles into actual opportunities.
Okay, compelling stuff. Internal work leading to tangible external results.
Well, that.
All right, next up we have Tiny Buddha. Sounds different.
It does, yeah, different flavor.
It seems like it offers a really nice, maybe more introspective contrast to the Rich Daily's business focus. The notes describe it as one of the most famous websites about mentality and spirituality.
A go-to resource.
And a go-to resource for self-improvement. Specifically, becoming a better version of yourself. What does that mean in this context?
Well, connecting this to our theme of an organized mind, Tiny Buddha definitely broadens the scope. It takes self-improvement beyond just career stuff or financial success.
Right, away from the purely material.
Exactly. Its focus on mentality and spirituality suggests a path that's maybe deeper, more inward-looking, often calmer.
Calmer sounds good in today's world.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what does becoming a better version of yourself mean here? It's probably less about job titles and more about things like cultivating emotional intelligence, finding some genuine inner peace, developing resilience to stress.
Right.
which is huge for mental organization.
Absolutely. Stress is clutter.
Totally. And nurturing compassion for yourself and others. And spirituality, even if you define it broadly, like a connection to something bigger, a sense of meaning, or just recognizing we're all interconnected.
Yeah, not necessarily religious in a traditional sense.
Not at all. But that sense can play a really big role in mental organization and cutting down stress. It gives you perspective, right? Grounding. It helps you filter all that noise we talked about.
How does it help filter?
Well, when your mind is just buzzing and cluttered, you tend to react to every little thing with the same urgency. We all are. But a mindful or spiritual approach, the kind Tiny Buddha explores, helps you cultivate a quieter space inside. From there, you can better discern what actually needs your attention and energy and what you can just let go of.
Okay, so it's like building an internal filter, strengthening your mental boundaries.
Exactly, a discerning mind, not just a reactive one.
I can definitely see how that would be a massive help in managing information overload.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that deeper sense of what truly matters to you, like an internal compass,
Mm-hmm.
it naturally makes it easier to ignore the trivial stuff and prioritize. And the phrase go-to resource, that implies regular use, doesn't it?
Yeah, it suggests consistent engagement, not just reading one article and you're done.
More like a practice.
Like a daily reflection or a journal, yeah. A place you keep returning to for little doses of wisdom or calm.
So what kind of practical stuff might you find there? Is it all philosophical, or does it give you things to actually do?
Oh, it's very much about practical application, even though it's rooted in deeper ideas. You'll find articles on, say, simple mindfulness exercises you can do at your desk to ease anxiety,
Okay, useful.
or strategies for letting go of things that are holding you back, like old grudges, tips for communicating more compassionately, simple practices for just finding a moment of calm when everything feels chaotic.
Like a mini reset button.
Exactly. They might have advice on doing a digital detox, for example, or being more conscious about the information you consume, not just stopping things, but doing it intentionally to reclaim your mental space.
That ties back perfectly to the organized mind idea.
It really does. It raises that important question. How much of mental organization comes from external tools, and how much comes from this kind of internal clarity? Tiny Buddha definitely leans into cultivating that inner calm first.
Which probably makes the external tools way more effective.
Because you're starting from a better place. Clearer intention. Less internal resistance.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. From that inner world, let's pivot a bit. We're moving towards a more externally focused mindset, but one that's still absolutely critical: the entrepreneurial drive.
Right. Shifting gears slightly.
Our next resource is Forbes, specifically their entrepreneur section. Now, Forbes, everyone knows Forbes, right? Standard for business news forever.
A household name in business.
But the material points out it's expanded into the mindset that is needed for entrepreneurship. It's highlighted as a key place to, keep up with what businesses are doing, watch interviews with really successful entrepreneurs, and learn directly from them.
Yeah, and what's really key here is that specific focus on the mindset needed for entrepreneurship. It's so much more than just knowing business basics.
What does that mindset entail, really?
Well, it's about cultivating depth resilience, because failure is pretty much guaranteed at some point.
Oh, yeah. Setbacks are part of the game.
Totally. It's about being willing to take calculated risks, having that relentless drive for innovation, for doing things differently, and maybe most importantly, being able to adapt really, really quickly.
Nimble.
Super nimble. And learning from these successful people, especially through interviews like Forbes offers, give you this unique kind of insight. It's less about theory and more about seeing how real people
People have actually done it.
exactly how they navigated the tough stuff, overcame huge setbacks, made those crucial, sometimes counterintuitive decisions. It's not just general news. It's like applied psychology of success.
You get inside their heads a bit.
You really do. You get a sense of their thought processes, how they frame problems, even the emotional journey behind the business success.
I'm really thinking about the power of learning by watching, by imitation almost. Hearing their stories, unfiltered, the struggles, the breakthroughs, straight from them.
It's powerful.
What kinds of specific insights might you get from a Forbes interview that you wouldn't get from just a standard article about the company?
Well, an article often gives you the what and the how, the facts, the figures, the strategy.
Right.
But an interview, that often gives you the why, the deep motivations, the thinking behind the strategy, the internal dialogue, the grit that got them through. It's the human story.
The human element. And okay, even if someone listening isn't planning to start their own company, How can learning about this entrepreneurial mindset still be really beneficial, say in their current job or even a side project?
Oh, hugely beneficial. That's a critical point. This mindset isn't just for startup founders.
Right. It's transferable.
Absolutely. It's fundamentally about seeing problems and having the drive to create solutions. It's about taking ownership, thinking proactively,
Mhm.
seeing opportunity where others just see, well, problem.
So it helps you innovate wherever you are.
Exactly. Even within a big company, adopting this mindset helps you become what people sometimes call an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. I
Yeah.
like that.
Someone who drives change from within, finds efficiencies, adds value. It's about developing agency, a bias for action, which is vital for organizing any complex project or, frankly, your whole life.
A bias for action.
Mhm.
Okay. And speaking of entrepreneurship, that leads us nicely to the next one, entrepreneur.com. Pretty clear what that's about.
Yeah, the name gives it away.
But the material says it has a specific angle, focused entirely on entrepreneurship, offering amazing tips from super successful individuals and their staff. That last part seems interesting.
It is interesting, and it's useful to compare it to Forbes again. Forbes might give you the big picture, the CEO interviews, the grand narratives.
Mhm.
Entrepreneur.com, just by its laser focus, suggests a really deep dive into the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of actually starting and growing a business.
More tactical, maybe?
I think so. And that mention of tips, not just broad strategy, but tips from both the leaders and their staff, that suggests something more granular, more practical, maybe more immediately actionable.
Staff insights could be really valuable. Ground level stuff.
Yeah, you're likely to find less philosophical discussion and more tangible step-by-step advice. Like, here are 5 things you can do today to improve your sales funnel. It bridges the gap between the big vision and the daily grind.
So really practical, hands-on advice, not just inspiration. What kind of tips are we talking about? Like how to write a business plan.
Could be that, yeah. Or actionable guides on how to scale up efficiently, specific digital marketing tactics that are working right now, maybe really nuanced advice on managing cash flow when things are tight, which is huge for startups.
Okay, so it definitely leans into the how-to.
Very much the how-to, emphasizing the actionable content. It's less about the broad brushstrokes and more about the fine details needed to actually execute.
Got it. Less about the painting, more about mixing the paints and holding the brush correctly.
That's a good way to put it. It's the operational layer, the tactical playbook. While Forbes might give you the why and the inspiration, Entrepreneur.com gives you the how for the day-to-day, making sure those big ideas actually happen.
Okay, excellent. Now let's switch gears again, moving from text-based websites to a completely different medium, video.
Right. Visual learning.
We've got Big Think, described as an awesome YouTube channel. The notes say they produce high-quality videos focused on business mindset, thinking big, and entrepreneurship with a really wide range of material.
Yeah, the shift to video here is really interesting, especially for these kinds of topics.
Why video? What's the advantage?
Well, for concepts that can be a bit abstract, like thinking big or understanding complex mindsets, video can be super powerful.
How so?
It engages more senses, you get the visual cues, the speaker's expressions, their charisma. Complex ideas can be illustrated with graphics or animations, making them easier to grasp.
Makes it click sometimes.
Exactly. And that phrase, high-quality videos, it suggests more than just good camera work. It implies intellectual depth, rigorous content. Big Think often features top academics, scientists, industry leaders explaining their ideas.
So, credible sources, presented engagingly.
Precisely. It brings these potentially dry or complex theories to life, makes them more dynamic, more memorable, perhaps.
I can definitely see that. Seeing someone explain something passionately or watching a clever animation, it just connects differently than reading sometimes.
It adds another layer, often more digestible too.
Okay, so how does this specific concept they focus on thinking big, how does that actually help with having an organized mind? It sounds almost counterintuitive. Big thinking sounds like more mental tabs, not fewer.
Huh. That's a fair point. It sounds like it could lead to chaos.
Right.
But actually, thinking big in this context doesn't mean chaotic thinking. It means establishing a larger purpose, an overarching framework for everything else you do.
Okay, like a North Star.
Exactly. A truly organized mind isn't just about managing today's to-do list perfectly. It's about making sure that everything on that list, every action you take, is actually serving a bigger, meaningful, ambitious vision.
So the big thinking provides the organizing principle.
Precisely. If you have that clear, compelling long-term goal, the big think, then all the smaller tasks can be aligned with it. It acts as a natural filter.
How does it filter?
Well, if a task or an opportunity comes up, you ask, does this actually move me closer to my big vision? If the answer is no, then you can confidently say no to it, delegate it, or just delete it.
Okay, that's powerful. It
Yeah.
stops you from just being busy for the sake of being busy.
Right. It helps you organize your ambition, which then clarifies and streamlines all your daily actions and decisions. It's the difference between just being busy and being strategically productive, moving towards something that really matters.
Seeing the whole forest, not just the individual trees, so you know where to focus your energy, makes perfect sense. Okay, wow. We spent some good time really digging into mindset, haven't we?
Yeah, laying that foundation.
Exploring how our internal world shapes everything. But now we need to bridge that gap because a great mindset without action is, well, just nice thoughts.
Intention without execution doesn't get you far.
Exactly. So this next section is all about the practical stuff, the tangible tools, the actual strategies that help you translate that positive mindset into concrete actions and organized results.
Moving from why to how.
Precisely. These resources are about actively managing your time and your information, getting hands-on.
Yeah, a powerful mindset needs powerful tools to really shine. It's about making it happen efficiently. These are the gears and levers.
Gears and levers, I like it. And leading the charge here, we have a tool called Rescue Time. The notes call this one crucial.
It comes up a lot in productivity circles.
It's described as a tool to track your productivity throughout the day. Specifically, it watches your computer activity to help prevent you from wasting time on social media and other time-sucking websites. Crucial for making better use of your time.
What's really game-changing about Rescue Time is the power of pure, unfiltered awareness.
Awareness. How does just knowing help?
Well, it's like a self-audit, but totally objective. It moves you beyond guessing or wishful thinking about where your time goes and gives you cold, hard data.
Okay, so it tracks everything automatically.
Yeah, it runs in the background, logs the apps and websites you use, and for how long. The psychology here is making the unconscious conscious.
Uncovering the hidden habits.
Exactly. Once you see clearly, maybe even shockingly, that you actually spent 2 hours scrolling Instagram when you thought it was maybe 30 minutes.
Ouch. Yeah.
That raw awareness itself is often a really powerful motivator for change. You suddenly see the reality of your habits versus your perception of them.
Confronting, but useful.
Very useful. It can reveal your peak productivity times too. Like maybe you're a genius between 9 and 10:30 a.m., but useless after 3 p.m. for focused work. That allows for really smart time blocking.
Data-driven scheduling, not just guessing.
Right. Turning vague intentions like I should waste less time into specific actions based on your actual pattern.
Okay, that sounds potent. Maybe a bit uncomfortable at first, seeing the raw data.
It can be, definitely. A real eye-opener.
What specific insights could you get beyond just total time spent on, say, Facebook? Does it break it down more?
Oh yeah, it gets pretty granular. It can show you patterns, like maybe you're most distracted mid-afternoon, or specific websites are your personal kryptonite, and time-sucking websites, that's broader than just social media, right?
What else counts? Endless news scrolling. Online shopping.
Absolutely. Compulsively checking news feeds, falling down YouTube rabbit holes, online shopping, even constantly checking email without actually dealing with it. Anything that pulls you away from your intended task without adding real value.
And how does it force accountability? It's just software, isn't it?
It forces it through impartiality. The data doesn't judge, it just is. You can't really argue with the numbers reflecting your own actions. It's like a mirror.
A very honest mirror.
A very honest, sometimes unflattering, but ultimately helpful mirror. So for you listening, just think for a second. How much time might you be losing each day without even realizing it? Rescue Time could reveal these hidden pockets of time, these time assets,
Hidden time assets. I love that phrase.
giving you back potentially hours you didn't know you had, freeing up mental space and actual clock time for the important stuff.
Okay, that's a massive potential win. Finding hidden time. All right, so that's managing time. What about managing, well, everything else? All the information, ideas, notes.
Oh, yes, the information deluge.
Exactly. Next up is Evernote, described as a handy alternative to having to write things down. Big point here.
Yeah.
It's available on a huge amount of different devices, letting you capture notes on the go.
Ubiquitous capture.
The material calls it a true lifesaver for the modern entrepreneur, and crucial if you want to organize your mind. Big claims.
They are big claims, but honestly, for many people, Evernote or similar tools really are revolutionary. Think about the shift from physical notebooks, maybe scattered, hard to serve,
Yet stacks of notebooks, sticky notes everywhere.
right, to a digital system. The multi-device sync alone is huge. Capturing an idea on your phone while you're out and then having it instantly appear on your laptop when you sit down to work. That seamlessness changes everything for organization and access.
No more lost ideas on napkins.
Exactly. And what makes it a lifesaver? It's not just the speed, it's the searchability. Imagine searching years' worth of notes instantly. It's the universal access. It's organizing without physical clutter.
Searchability is key. Finding that note from 6 months ago.
Instantly, Evernote uses powerful tech like OCR optical character recognition, so even text within images, like a photo of a whiteboard or a scanned document, become searchable.
Wow, okay, that's clever.
It turns static information into this dynamic, interconnected knowledge base you carry in your pocket.
So it's really about freeing up your brain, isn't it? Your mental RAM again.
Totally. It's cognitive offloading.
Cognitive offloading. Explain that.
Our working memory, the part of our brain juggling active thoughts, is really limited. It gets overloaded easily.
Tell me about it.
When you're constantly trying to remember every little detail, every idea, every task, it eats up massive amounts of mental energy. It creates background anxiety.
That hum again.
That hum. Evernote acts like an external hard drive for your brain, a reliable place to dump information, knowing you can get it back easily.
So you trust the system?
You trust the system, and that frees up your internal processor, your actual brain power, for the heavy lifting. Creative thinking, problem solving, strategy.
Makes sense. What kind of notes work best in a system like this? Is it just for to-do lists?
Oh, anything and everything. Project plans, meeting notes, research clips from the web, client details, article drafts, brainstorming sessions, even personal stuff like recipes or travel plans.
A true digital filing cabinet for your life.
Pretty much. Imagine that entrepreneur capturing a brilliant idea on their phone in a taxi, knowing it's safe and sound, ready to be expanded on their laptop later. That frictionless capture prevents good ideas from just vanishing. It makes your thoughts tangible, actionable.
Okay, incredibly liberating. A superpower for your brain almost, but what if you have the tools, you have the notes, you know you should focus, but you just can't resist clicking away?
Ah, the siren song of distraction.
Exactly. That brings us to BlockSight. This sounds more forceful. It's described as a solution for those really struggling to stay on topic and motivated. It lets you block a range of websites to, quote, stop yourself from wasting time and force yourself to move towards your goals.
Yeah, this one offers a necessary and maybe more intense contrast to Rescue Time.
How so?
Rescue Time tracks and informs. It raises awareness. BlockSight takes a much more direct, proactive approach. It's interventionist.
Like putting up digital walls.
Exactly. It acknowledges a hard truth. Sometimes awareness isn't enough. Sometimes willpower just fails us, especially against cleverly designed digital distractions.
We're only human.
We are. And willpower is finite. So the psychology here is about removing the temptation altogether, preemptive action. You create this digital fortress around your focus time.
A commitment device.
Yeah.
You decide ahead of time not to be tempted.
Precisely. It's like environmental design for your digital workspace. You set it up for your future, hopefully more focused self.
Okay, so it's building a fence around your focus. Can you give some specific examples where this would be invaluable, like non-negotiable?
Definitely during intense, deep work sessions where uninterrupted concentration is key.
Right. Total focus needed.
Studying for a really important exam, writing a complex report against a tight deadline, anytime you absolutely cannot afford to get sidetracked.
Makes sense. And how does it force you towards your goals? Is it just by removing the bad stuff, or does it actively push you?
It primarily works by removing the negative escape routes. If you simply can't access YouTube or Twitter or whatever your poison is,
Yeah.
your brain, which wants stimulus, is much more likely to turn its attention back to the task at hand. The productive work becomes the path of least resistance, almost.
Ah, interesting. It creates a vacuum that work can fill?
In a way, yes. It makes procrastination significantly harder by blocking the easy exits. It's self-imposed discipline, activated when you know your willpower might be weak. It shifts the burden from constantly resisting temptation to making one single decision. Turn on the block.
One decision instead of 50 temptations an hour.
Exactly. Makes the path towards your goals feel less like climbing a slippery slope and more like walking down a clear path.
Sometimes you're just going to remove the option entirely.
Yeah.
Cut the cord. Okay, so we've covered mindset cultivation, we've covered practical tools for time and info management, but what about the human element?
Ah, yes. Crucial piece.
What happens when the tools are there, the mindset is willing, but you just lack that spark, that motivation, or you need someone to hold you accountable.
That's where human connection comes in. Digital tools are amazing for automation and efficiency, but they can't replicate inspiration or tough love or genuinely personalized advice.
Things only another person can really offer.
Exactly. These next resources are about tapping into that human element for motivation, accountability, strategic guidance. They provide the emotional push, the tailored insights that algorithms just can't.
The human catalysts, okay? And when you talk about igniting that spark, motivating people, few names come up as often or as loud as Eric Thomas.
E.T., the hip-hop preacher. Yeah, he's a force of nature.
Famous motivational speaker. The material highlights his YouTube channel, saying he regularly uploads videos and is the guy to turn to. If you're ever lacking motivation or need someone to tell you the truth, tell you the truth. What does that mean here?
With E.T., telling you the truth often means raw, unfiltered, passionate honesty. It's usually tough love.
No sugarcoating.
Zero sugarcoating. It's blunt talk about the level of effort required for real success. It's about confronting your excuses, your self-limiting beliefs head on. He doesn't gently suggest. He practically yells it at you, but with this incredible energy.
An electrifying jolt, maybe.
That's a good way to put it. So how does someone like E.T. fit in with tools like Rescue Time or Evernote?
Yeah, how do they complement each other?
Well, the tools give you the how, the methods, the systems for getting organized. E.T. provides the W plate why. The fire, the drive, the reason to push through when the how feels hard or boring or overwhelming.
He fuels the engine that the tools help steer.
Perfect analogy. He reminds you of your potential and the high cost of staying stuck.
I can picture it. It's less about logic, more about hitting you on an emotional, almost primal level, confronting your inner resistance.
Absolutely. It bypasses the rationalizations and hits you right in the gut, in the heart.
What is it about the human voice, that charisma, that makes it so powerful for motivation, compared to just, say, an app notification telling you to get back to work?
Oh, there's no comparison. The human voice, especially delivered with E.T.'s kind of passion and conviction, carries nuance, emotion, energy that text or a notification just can't capture.
I feel it more.
You feel it. Charisma connects emotionally. It can bypass your usual defenses and speak directly to your hopes, your fears, your deepest ambitions.
And why is that external motivation sometimes crucial? Can't we just motivate ourselves?
We can, often, but sometimes we hit a wall, we get stuck in inertia, self-doubt takes over, our internal motivation just dries up.
Yeah, those
Exactly. In those moments, a powerful external voice like E.T.'s can be like jumper cables for your soul. It reignites that inner fire.
jumper cables for the soul. Love it.
Imagine feeling totally overwhelmed, watching one of his videos and suddenly feeling like, yes, I can do this. Getting that surge of energy and clarity to tackle whatever was holding you back. That's the kind of impact he can have.
Okay, a powerful antidote to procrastination. But that's kind of broad, right? General boost. What if
Yeah.
you need something more specific, more sustained?
Ah, good question. That leads perfectly into personalized guidance.
Right, which brings us to Debra Rossi, described as a well-known life coach. And the material makes a point of addressing skepticism head-on.
Which is important in that field.
It says, while some life coaches are selling snake oil, Debra is a talented coach who talks about developing the correct mindset and organizing your life. And crucially, this helps you more easily reach your goals.
That distinction is key. It acknowledges the skepticism, but immediately sets Debra Rossi apart. She's positioned as talented, focused on tangible outcomes, developing the correct mindset, organizing your life, leading to easier goal attainment.
So results-oriented, not just vague, feel-good chat.
Exactly. It implies a structured, personalized approach, practical guidance tailored to your specific situation, not generic cheerleading. She helps you figure out your specific roadblocks, both mental and practical.
And gives you a roadmap to get past them.
A bespoke roadmap. Yeah.
So it's not just cheering you on, it's like
Mhm.
providing the map and maybe holding you accountable for following it.
Yeah.
What's the real difference between E.T.'s motivational speaking and Rossi's life coaching?
Think of it this way. E.T. gives a powerful sermon to a large crowd, lighting a fire under everyone, inspiring mass action.
Okay, big energy, broad audience.
Debra Rossi as a coach is more like a personal trainer for your life and goal.
Ah, one-on-one. Tailored.
Exactly. She doesn't just yell, run faster. She assesses your current fitness level, mental and organizational, understands your specific goals and limitations, then designs a personalized training plan. She guides you through the exercises, checks your form, and holds you accountable for doing the work consistently.
That accountability piece seems huge.
It's massive. The snake oil coaches might offer generic advice that doesn't fit or make empty promises. A talented coach like Rossi offers specific strategies, helps you dig deep to uncover your limiting beliefs, and provides a framework to integrate changes into your life.
So they help with the unique hurdles that a general speech can't address.
Precisely. It's about having an expert strategist in your corner focused solely on your journey. Someone who understands your specific landscape and helps you navigate it effectively.
I can definitely see the value in that tailored approach,
Yeah.
breaking through those really personal barriers. Okay, for you listening, maybe consider that. What's the value of having that kind of external accountability and tailored advice for your journey? Sometimes inspiration isn't enough. You need a skilled guide.
Mm-hmm. A guide who gets you.
Wow. Okay, what a journey we've taken today, exploring all these resources.
It's covered a lot of ground.
We really have. We started deep in the mindset stuff, right? Looking at platforms like the Rich Daily and Tiny Buddha, focusing on that inner growth, broadening perspective.
Building that foundation.
Then we shifted gears hard into the practical tools. Rescue Time for tracking time, Evernote for capturing everything, BlockSite for building those focus fences. Real, tangible actions.
Your framework and the tools.
And finally, we brought in the human element, that raw motivation from someone like Eric Thomas, and the personalized, sustained guidance from a coach like Debra Rossi.
The spark and the strategic support.
Exactly. So if we try to pull this all together, what's the big takeaway?
I think the main thing is that an organized mind isn't just about having a neat desk or a perfect calendar app. It's much bigger than that.
More holistic.
Totally holistic. It's about integrating everything. Building that mental strength, equipping yourself with efficient tools, and recognizing how crucial human support is for motivation and accountability.
They all work together.
These 10 resources, viewed together, offer this really comprehensive pathway. Not just isolated tips, but a multifaceted approach to being more effective, finding more purpose, and just feeling less chaotic.
Fuel for the cognitive engine, as you said earlier.
Exactly, the high-octane fuel.
And the best part about all these resources,
Their accessibility.
you got it. They're right there. You can literally click over and start exploring right now. Pick one that resonates, one that addresses your biggest pain point today.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Just find that one starting point.
That one first step that creates a positive ripple.
Which leads us to a final thought, maybe something for you to ponder after this.
Ooh, a provocative thought. Lay it on us.
Okay. If an organized mind truly is this powerful engine humming with potential, and all these resources we've discussed are its fuel, what innovative, unexpected journey could you embark on? What new possibilities could you unlock just by consciously, intentionally combining these elements in a way that's uniquely, powerfully your own?
Combining them in your own unique way. I like that.
The potential with an organized mind is pretty much limitless, isn't it?